the basic formulas that you need to master for projectiles. Number one is time of flight. And what is the formula for time of flight? Capital T is equals to 2u sine theta over g. That is time of flight. And what is time of flight? Time of flight is the time required, or is the time taken for an object launched from a surface to return back to that surface. The time it takes an object launched from a surface to return back to that surface, that is what is called time of flight. The second formula is the time to reach maximum height. They can ask you, calculate the time to reach maximum height. The time to reach maximum height is small letter t, and it is given as small, as time to reach maximum height t is u sine theta over g. Now, if you look at the difference between time of flight and time to reach maximum height, you will see that your capital T, there's a relationship between the two. Capital T is equals to 2 of small t, meaning that the time it takes to reach maximum height when you throw an object, okay, and then in a vacuum and there is no interference of air, the law says the time it takes for that object to get to the maximum height is the same time it will take for it to return back to the surface for which it is launched. So if it takes 3 seconds for you to launch a ball from the ground to a height, by the time it gets to that maximum height, it will take exactly the same 3 seconds to land back to the ground. That's the meaning of that. So your capital T is just 2 of the small t. And your small t is the time to reach maximum height, and it's given as u sine theta over g, while capital T is 2u sine theta over g, which is time of flight. The next one I'll talk about is range. And range is just simply the horizontal distance from the point of launching that object to where it lands. I repeat, the point from which you launch the object to where it lands, that horizontal distance is what you call the range. The formula for range is r is equals to u squared sine 2 theta over g. U squared sine 2 theta over g. That is the formula for range. All right. And the last one is maximum height. They can ask you to calculate the maximum height reached. So h max, which is also given as the maximum height, okay, is given as u squared sine square theta sine square theta u squared sine square theta over 2g. Now let's take a look at these four. Let's take a look at the four formulas I've written up. If you look at the small letter t, I want to give you a key now that you can use to easily remember. If you look at the small letter t, you will see that there is no 2 appearing there at all. Small letter t is u sine theta over g. If you go to time of flight, you will see that 2 is appearing how many times? 1 time. If you go to range, you will see that 2 is appearing 2 times. Are you saying u squared then sine 2 theta? Note, it is not sine square theta, but sine 2 theta. And if you go to h max, which is maximum height, you will see that how many times is 2 appearing there? 3 times. So the first key you need to note is that maximum height has the maximum number of 2, and that 2 is 3. So this is it. Out of 4 formulas, the first one does not have a 2 at all. The second one has only 1 2, okay, 2 appearing once. The third one has 2 appearing twice. The last one has 2 appearing 3 times. The one that has 2 appearing 3 times is called the maximum height, and it has the maximum number of 2. The range is having 2 occurring twice. U square sine 2 theta over g. Now listen to this. The reason why this sine 2 theta is not sine square theta like you have for h max is because that sine 2 theta is the same thing as 2 sine theta cos theta. 2 sine theta cos theta. If I'm going to prove the range for you, I will show you that that sine 2 theta means 2 sine theta cos theta. And that is the only formula amongst these 4 that has that cos theta, because the cos theta talks about the horizontal component. Sine theta talks about vertical component. So when we are talking about range, you remember I said the range is the distance from where you launch to where it lands, the horizontal distance. So there's no way you talk about horizontal distance and you're not talking about horizontal components. And that is why the cos theta comes to play. So that 2 sine theta cos theta is exactly the same thing as sine 2 theta. So that is the only one that has sine 2 theta amongst the 4. So the first one, which is small t, is u sine theta over g. There is no 2 at all. The second one, which is capital T, which is time of flight, is 2u sine theta over g. The third one is your range, r, which is u squared sine 2 theta over g. And the last is h maximum, which has u squared sine square theta over 2g. Very simple. So another key is this: from the first one, just From the first one, just add 2 to the beginning. It gives you the second one, which is time of flight, right? Then tap that 2, just tap it up a bit. It will jump up to the top of u, and then you have u squared, and you tap it a second time, and you have sine 2 theta. All right, and then for your maximum, just drop the 2 down to g, and you have your answer. So now let us look at this example. I'm going to use this example for us to test this formula. Now, before I continue, in your scientific calculator that will be, sorry, the calculator that will be on the screen for your Jamb exam, there is no sine theta there. So for this projectile, how will you be able to answer questions if you don't know your sine, your special angles? I have done a video on special angles. If you have not seen that video, check it. I have it there. I have the shortcut to it that you can easily use to know those special angles. One good news is that they will not give you an angle that is outside those special angles in your projectile questions. They're either going to give you angle 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, or 90 degrees. Are we together? In fact, it's going to be either 30, 60, or 45. And if you look at those special angles, I have done that for you. So you don't even need to start looking for how to get that. You are expected to know those special angles. Now, let us look at this example. Let's look at this example. The example says, a bullet fired vertically upward from a gun held 2.0 meter above the ground reaches its maximum height in 4.0 seconds. Calculate its initial velocity. Calculate its initial velocity. Okay, so this question says an object is projected with velocity of 80 meter per second at an angle of 30 degrees to the horizontal. So that means our theta is 30 degrees. Okay, and they said the object is projected with velocity 80 meter per second. So that means our u is 80 meters per second. The question now says the maximum height reach is dash. So your h max, that's what they are asking you for, is unknown. So what are we supposed to do? Your h max is u squared sine squared theta, sine squared theta, okay, sine squared theta over 2g. You remember h max has the maximum amount of what? Of 2's. And that means the 2 is appearing 3 times, u squared sine squared theta over 2g. So now let's bring in the values we're given. Your u is 80, so you have 80 squared multiplied by sine squared theta means sine theta all squared. And the angle we are given is 30 degrees. And from your special angle, sine 30 is 0.5, which is half. Okay, so when you now say sine 30 squared, that is 0.5 squared. So 0.5 squared. 0.5 squared divided by 2 times 10. You know your g is 10, right? So if you look at it, your 80 squared, our 80 squared is going to be what? It's going to be 6400. So you have 6400 times your 0.5 squared. It means half times half. That's 1/4. That's 0.25 times 0.25. 0.25 all over 20. This 0 cancels 0 here. My 2 cancels here. I have 320. So what do we have left? We have 320 times 0.25. Anytime you are multiplying by 0.25, it means just divide that value by 4. So if I'm multiplying 320 by 0.25 and I don't have a calculator, all I just have to do is divide by 4 because 1 over 4 is 0.25. So I'll divide this by 4. By the time I divide by 4, 4 in 32 is 8. So my answer is going to be 80. 80. That's going to be the answer. 80 is 80 meters. So in the options, we have options 20 meters, 80 meters, 160 meters, 320 meters. The answer is 80 meters. That is the maximum height reached.